There you go.
Yeah.
All right. It's a beautiful Friday late afternoon, and this is Digital Cortex.
What day is it?
Wednesday.
You said Friday, dude.
No one will know that unless they rewind. Yeah.
You want it to be Friday.
God damn, doesn't everybody want it to be Friday?
Not more than you. Dude, have we had this conversation before?
I don't know, man.
It's so weird.
I'm always looking for a perpetual weekend.
Well, I feel like I had this conversation already. I got like a deja vu. That was weird.
I don't know. There's been a lot of Fridays we've enjoyed together, so it's possible we had this conversation before.
No, like specifically you thinking it was Friday and then me asking you that you like Fridays and then like, yeah. Like,
oh, that specific conversation.
Yeah. Like, haven't you ever got that when you like say something, you're like, wow, have I said this before?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. That's called deja vu.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I got that weird feeling when I couldn't even finish what I was going to say. I don't even remember it now, but
I'm lost too.
It's almost like I was going into a conversation that I already had. Yeah, that was interesting.
That's a weird one.
Yeah, thank you for starting like that.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't know, dude.
No, it's all good.
You just get, these, like, what is deja vu anyways? Like, what is that feeling?
Deja vu is feeling like something has happened precisely
the way
already.
You've seen it in your head.
Like
right?
the way that it's all played out has already happened.
But it's almost not even just a idea. It's more like a feeling. You're like, whoa.
Yeah, it's a feeling like, no, I swear we've had this exact conversation in this exact spot.
Yeah. And you had the same response.
Exactly. And I responded saying that I already had this conversation. What the fuck?
That part I didn't have. That would be a layered deja vu.
I've had a deja vu like that where I've thought like, no, I swear we've had this whole conversation and I've explained it like this. And that's part of the deja vu is that I did that and I was upset that you couldn't remember it. And I thought I was crazy.
Yeah. So that's like an Inception deja vu. That's like layered. You're now going. So if we ever start talking about a Friday again in the future, now we could reference this recall of actually having this feeling already.
Right. So don't ever talk about Fridays unless it's being recorded.
Well, it just then organically has to happen, though. That would be the true deja vu.
So what you're saying is we should record ourselves 24/7.
No, just when we do this. Yeah, I don't know how people do reality TV now is more scripted than anything, right? They're all like
for sure.
Let's go to the zoo, and they have a zoo episode.
And not to mention that they are always cutting out and cutting in. So
they would have
never
them redo, huh?
Yeah.
Redo scenes like, we'll say that again, but be more emotional, like invested. It's like
you can't run a TV show and have it completely unscripted. You need to add things in. Like everything is scripted about where you're going to be and what they're going to do. And maybe some of the conversation or dialogue is not scripted, but for the most part, yeah, it's scripted to an extent.
Yeah, right.
But definitely when they're in the post editing of it all, when they
can splice it, they're
going to splice it. They're going to cut things out. They're going to be like,
they can make you look angry after somebody says something, and you never had that.
Yeah, exactly. You watch reality TV, and sometimes you can see like their stance is different than it was like when they just clipped away a few seconds ago.
If you notice
you start to think like, are they in a different part of the conversation, or there's like cake in the middle of them and like half of it's eaten, but then we go back and half of it's still there, and you're like, wait, what?
You catch it sometimes with it, like they'll be standing in the kitchen, they don't have a drink and they're talking, and then like a second later they have a drink in their hand, like they've always had it.
And it's like it's the same conversation, is it? Who knows?
They were just answering that question, but now they have a drink in their hand. You're like, wait, what am I? And then so they try to like,
yeah, it's definitely.
You can notice little if you actually pay attention, but yeah, you kind of see like between the lines, like, oh, they're putting this together from the body of video that they had to watch. And they just like, oh, let's create this and let's create that. Let's create this reaction to what they said to this. And that'll be more. And we'll play dramatic music behind it. You know, it's like they're just building a scene out of all the pieces of that. It's almost like they're just putting Legos together. They're like, oh, well, let me put this Lego piece here, this Lego piece here. You know, each interaction or each conversation. Oh, we recorded them for 3 hours. We got X amount of reactions. We'll use that. We'll create this storyline. Like, it really is like its own. I mean, these people sit and edit for hours and hours and hours. Editors are crazy, man.
Oh, for sure, man. And you know, there's like different like subgenres. Like there's people whose specific job it is to just edit fucking trailers for Marvel movies.
Yeah. They get to watch the movie and then they make a trailer. That's awesome.
Like usually studios will hire outside organizations to do the trailers for them.
Yeah.
But Marvel hired people and created an internal department specifically just to do the trailers for the Marvel movies.
That
like
makes
the people
sense.
cutting the trailers together have probably cut together every other Marvel movie you've ever seen.
They're more experienced with the storyline. They know what's going on because they're in the company. Like they can get,
and it keeps the movies more secretive too.
That's the big thing is the script circulation. I mean the actors, what they have to go through to get pieces of just a script. Like they don't even get the full script right away.
And when you're internal like that, it's way easier for like the head guy, you know, to come in and just be like, you know, like Kevin Feige, just walk in there and be like, yeah, I don't think I like the way that's cutting together. We don't want you to show that character just yet.
Yeah. There's some certain storylines they want to wait or they don't want to actually reveal.
Instead of having to like have due dates and send the trailer in for review and then have like X amount of time to review it and send it back for edits and then wait. You can be like, just stand behind the guy in his desk and be like, oh yeah, that's good.
You know what
if we did this and this and this instead?
You know what's an all-time great trailer is the Iron Man trailer. The first Iron Man trailer. Where he starts out, he's got a suit on, they're blowing missiles into the side of a mountain, and then his head's ringing, and they got attacked, and then he's got shit in his chest, and he wakes up, and then he's just like, they take you through the whole kind of building of Iron Man, and it's really,
they needed to too,
because it pumps it up.
Nowadays, when someone releases a Marvel movie and you don't know who that Marvel character is, or they haven't already introduced them in a previous movie, you know, it's easier to now to just be like, oh, well, then wait a couple days after this trailer drops and there's going to be a YouTuber who's going to explain the entire character's comic book background to me. But like back then, comic book movies weren't like the big thing.
They were still selling.
You had very few, and you only knew those people. So you had like Batman and Superman, and that was pretty much it. Yeah. And you had like, you know, X-Men and very popular names. Iron Man was a B-rated comic book. It is not part of Marvel's A-list characters at that time that they decided to do this film. And Robert Downey Jr. had not done anything this big
in a while,
in so long, because of his rehab and the big falling out with the media and stuff with the drugs.
Yeah.
So like them putting money on that and saying, no, this is going to work out was not taken well by a lot of people. And the fact that they were, before Disney had bought Marvel, you know, they were doing this on their own. Like they put a lot of money to try to make some money back, because they were going bankrupt as a company, like comic book company, you know. They didn't have the money, and they were selling the rights to all their popular heroes like Spider-Man and Fantastic Four and X-Men and all those great people. So they had to come and pull fucking garbage characters out of the trash and try to make them cool. And they fucking did.
It worked with Iron Man. It worked.
Why do you think all the Avengers are in a group together? Not because it's like, oh, we want to see the coolest superheroes together.
Yeah.
Is because they can't hold comic books on their own that long.
and they had to push them all together.
They did in their heydays, and they got following and stuff, and people love the characters. Don't get me wrong, I'm not bashing on them. Like, I love some of those characters too. Like,
the only one that I'm like, why is he there? Hawkeye. Hawkeye is like,
when it came to mass popularity, you know,
bow and arrow.
You had to. It was the names. It was the people you see. Like, everybody knew. Like, they had T-shirts for it. You didn't have a T-shirt for fucking Iron Man before an Iron Man movie, you know?
And then the song, I mean, they play the Aussie Iron Man, and like, and it just like, it was perfect, because that song's been around forever too. So yeah, it was already established song with an established actor, Robert Downey. He hasn't done anything great, but he's bulletproof in this movie, and like, yeah. And then Terrence Howard to me was really good too, but you know, he got replaced by Don Cheadle later.
Yeah,
which was kind of weird. There was a whole situation with that. I
think it was because, what was the reason?
They couldn't agree on the contract numbers, and
yeah, I think he was just asking for way too much money.
There was talks about him doing a spin-off movie too, a War Machine spin-off with just Terrence Howard. So he was trying to get a big deal from them, and I guess it didn't work. And he said, you know, Robert Downey could have helped him more and called him up. He said he could have picked up the phone at any point and told him, give him, you know, do it. And he didn't do it. So there was a kind of whole riff with that. But I think he was way better than Don Cheadle as War Machine, but you know, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you go back and look at it, and then they made that fucking joke about introducing him back in the second movie.
Yeah, what did they say? I forgot.
They said something when he was walking into court, because it was the first time we'd seen him, and he says some quip of how he looks or something.
Yeah, it looked different or something. Yeah, because Don Cheadle is not the stature of Terrence Howard. They're totally different. Don Cheadle I think is more like slender, and Terrence is actually a bigger dude, taller.
Here it is.
I'd like to invite Lieutenant Colonel James Rhodes to the chamber.
Rhodey? What?
They're all clapping there.
Yeah, and he walks in, he goes to greet him.
Expect to see you now? Look, it's me. I'm here. Deal with it. Let's move on. I dropped it.
Oh yeah, that was.
He's like, didn't expect to see you here.
That was almost.
I'm here. Deal with it. Let's move on. Like, that was their way of like saying, fucking stop asking questions and just go with it.
I've heard some actors talking about, you know, replacing other actors and how it kind of feels weird and they feel bad, you know, like. So I think that was kind of like, yeah, it's me. I'm here. I did it. I don't know what kind of conversation you ever had with Terrence about taking over the job, but or if he ever did talk to him. I don't know. I don't even know if they know each other.
And it's sad that he never even got to don the suit, because like that's how it ends in the first Iron Man. Is he looks at the suit and he thinks about taking it. He's like, next time, and then he just walks out. Because the silver suit is still there, the one that was not plated to go into space or some fucking bullshit. Yeah, that was a scene. It was a good scene, but you never got to put the suit on as the actor, you know?
Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't know. What were we talking about? Why were we talking about Iron Man? I don't even know what we started talking about Iron Man. Oh, I was talking about trailers. But yeah, that was a rabbit hole for sure.
Yeah. For sure.
You said yeah.
I know we don't, like, I don't watch too many trailers, and I know you don't watch too many trailers.
I physically try not to watch trailers. Like, I stop myself from.
But there's some interesting things like conspiring in this. I'm very excited to see the Marvels movie.
Which Marvel movie?
The Marvels.
Oh,
I think.
the Marvels?
The Marvels.
Yeah, see, I don't even know anything about
it. So this is going to... So, Captain Marvel.
I know Captain Marvel, yeah.
We know who Captain Marvel is. There's another character that was featured who also will one day in the comics takes on the mantle of Captain Marvel. Because like that title switches between different super powered beings. Same way as like, you know, the Falcon is now Captain America. Like they've done that a couple of times in comics. Like the Miles Morales Spider-Man. He takes over for Spider-Man after Spider-Man dies.
Yeah.
You know? So there's another character, Monica Rambeau, I think that's her name. She has like this weird control over like light spectrum and can harness those powers or something weird like that. I forget, but she was featured in the WandaVision television show. Did you see that one?
Yeah.
Remember she like pushes herself through the bubble and then she gets like superpowers?
Yeah.
So she's considered a Marvel because she's friends with Captain Marvel and she eventually takes on that persona.
Monarch.
Yeah. And so we also have another Marvel, and that is Miss Marvel. Now she takes on her name, Camilla Khan. It's her name. She's had her own TV show recently too, and her original story, like they changed it up in the TV show. They made her a mutant.
Yeah.
Spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen it, but like it's been a year, so you should have seen it already. She was originally a mutant. No, they made her a mutant in the TV show, but her original origin is an Inhuman. Okay. Inhumans are like their ancestors were mutilated with alien DNA like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago and some bullshit like that. You know? So because of that, this DNA traits lie dormant in today's era people like Camilla Khan. And if you're exposed to something called a Terrigen crystal, it awakens that inhuman DNA in you, turns you to stone, and then you break out of the stone with a superpower. Who knows what it is? It's like a random, like, boom, there it is. That's your superpower. Huh. But they said she wasn't an inhuman. She was a mutant. But she's not related to Captain Marvel at all. So why they call her Miss Marvel was because she is a teenage fangirl and she loved Captain Marvel. And so she mimicked her costume off of Captain Marvel and aspired to be similar to a superhero's Captain Marvel, even though she has none of her powers. So they called her Miss Marvel.
Miss Marvel. Yep.
So all three of them are going to be in a movie called The Marvels, I believe it's called. And Samuel L. Jackson's coming back as Nick Fury and doing all the secret
Nick Fury things,
shield shit in space.
Yeah.
Trying to solve an issue going on with Kevin Rambeau and Captain Marvel and Camilla Khan gets wrapped up in it for some reason. Some weird fucking shit. And the movie looks good. As far as the trailer, I watched parts of the trailer.
What do you think is going to be better, Miss Marvel or Guardians?
Okay, the Marvels or Guardians?
Yeah. Because you've seen probably both previews, so.
I haven't seen the Guardians preview yet.
Oh, you haven't?
I think I've seen like pieces of it, but I haven't like sat and watched it.
I've seen pieces of it, and I'm like, but I already know.
Based on that, I'm going to go Marvels.
Okay.
I think I'll be more interested in the Marvels.
Yeah. Yeah. For your interest, but what do you think is going to do better? Guardians probably, huh? It's already established. It's too hard to put established against a new movie.
I feel like these characters have been established though. We've seen Captain Marvel. She's had her own movie. She did well.
Yeah.
You know,
okay.
Camilla Khan has her own TV show on Disney Plus. And let's be honest, the people who aren't going to go into the theater and see it, they're going to watch it way more views on Disney Plus as soon as it starts streaming than in box office sales day one.
They probably will get more views on the app.
I mean, that's true with Ant-Man. Ant-Man didn't do as well in the box office as they'd hoped, but dude. Like...
Did you watch it?
Oh, yeah. We watched it streaming.
Did you like it? Yeah, that's not a good start. Whatever you're going to say, that's when you have to think.
It was a fun movie. There were questionable things in it.
That's what I read, that the storyline was wishy-washy.
It kind of just all happened.
Yeah. They're just putting things together just for the sake of it.
But I was telling Crystal this is like, I feel like this phase of Marvel, the last few recent ones that we've got, like Thor, Love and Thunder, they have like some serious things that are happening, but it's played very comedic like.
Yeah.
And I feel like,
why do you think they're doing that?
I think they're doing it for a reason, man. We're about to have a big fucking incursion event in Marvel. And so what does this mean? What do you mean incursion event? So the what they're setting up here in the universe is a storyline in Marvel that shows that we have a main bad guy who has been controlling the universe, and he's been wrapping time. We learned this in Loki, the Loki TV show. We learned that he has been putting all of time across the universe in a loop. And he's created an agency that lives outside of time to correct it. So you know what happens every time you make a decision? You have an opportunity to create a different universe. If I go to reach for, right now I have a beer and water in front of me. If I go to reach for the beer and I drink the beer, I'm on one time path.
Yeah.
But instead, if I go to reach and I make that decision, like, do I want beer or water? Because I had to ask myself and gave myself the two options, there is a universe now that I've just created and split off from our timeline of where I chose the water.
It's infinite.
And where that goes, right? So what he created was an agency outside of time that goes and stops those from occurring.
How can you stop an event?
Because you stop it by making sure if that happens, if that tries to happen, you reset it or you destroy that decision making that went wrong. So that's what they did in Loki. Like, they arrested him and he was sent to trial, and he's like, I don't know what I did wrong. He's like, well, you didn't do what you're supposed to do in the timeline. So we had to reset the timeline and refix it. Now you are a variant of your true prime time self. And as a variant, you're sentenced to death. So
they're just going to kill every variant.
Yes.
Okay.
And so why is this guy doing this?
Control.
So he explains that he is from the future, from our present future. And we live in 2023. He's from like...
Hold on. The only problem with killing variants, isn't there an infinite number of variants? Because it's infinity. It's infinite.
Only if they choose, they make that choice. So if I'm here and I go for this, then I'm fine. But if I'm here and I go for the water instead, now a time agent's going to show up and be like, bro, why'd you touch the water? You weren't supposed to do that. We got to reset it. They rewind it. I go for this. Like, they put me on the right path.
Oh, they're just rewinding every instance.
Yeah. And then the person that grabbed the water is like, well, what the fuck? I get destroyed.
Well, they're going to have to use like supercomputers or something to calculate
They do. Because the man's very smart and he's from like a very far future.
Okay.
And he is the one who discovered multiverses, that there were multiple universes based on different major decisions. Like, it's not like always water and this. It's like huge major decisions.
There's major ones, but there's also infinite.
Or decisions that alter the timeline enough. So think about like one strand of hair. That's our timeline, right?
Yeah.
And then we have like more hair growing. And if they grow with our strand, they still stay on a relatively same path. Like, they might merge back together at one point.
The larger, what you're saying is the larger plot
events
is the longer.
That take a hair, and now it's a hair, like a branch from a tree that curves away from our main one and starts going on its own and creating its own new branches. That's what they're cutting off.
Yeah.
So as long as our branches, they coming back and growing back into themselves eventually at one point,
as long as
and then keep the ultimate timeline loop still same and working, then it's fine. But if it's enough to create a whole new branch on the timeline, a whole new stream from this river, then You know, because there could be a rock in the middle of the river. The river diverts for a few seconds, but it comes back. But if we're creating a whole different river path and it's going in a whole different direction the river never went before, that's what they're cutting off. I guess a river is a better explanation. That made more sense to me.
Yeah, when you said hair, it got...
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking like...
I'm like, wait,
but
how does hair grow out of hair?
No. The river. Let's go rewind. Cut all that shit. Where's my time agent?
See, okay, but hold on. The only problem I think with this whole concept is it's very confusing to the average person. Like, and then if they do grasp the main idea of time can be manipulated and stuff, well, then it's less investment. So the problem that a lot of these writers are saying is that when you have less invested, because you can always rewind time or undo time or alter time, then you are less invested in the characters. You're like, oh well, we could just fix it. You know, we could do that, or you know, we can bring them back somehow, because they keep doing that. So then it's less investment in these. So when they die, you don't feel as bad, because you're like, well, they're going to figure out how to bring him back. You know, Captain America is not going to die. You know, it's just like, it's just not making a good fan experience with all this
agreed.
Time.
And here's the problem.
Yeah.
So in the comic books, this works so great because you can create different worlds. Like we're watching Spider-Man from Earth 616. But did you know that the PS4 version of Spider-Man is in his own universe? And that's canon?
Yeah. Different
than the Spider-Man in the comics. Like they have their own stories and their divergence of their own in their own universes.
Yeah.
Like there's the original like Amazing Spider-Man comics. There's the Spectacular Spider-Man comics. They might just seem like different names and retelling of the stories, but they change things. Like there's a Spider-Man, like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. He's got webs that come out of his wrists. Like they're natural part of him.
Yeah.
In most other iterations of Spider-Man, he creates his webbing with technology.
Somebody was saying that if he can shoot web out of his... I'm not going to say it. Never mind.
There's a version of Spider-Man out there that instead of becoming a human with spider powers, he became spider powers, but was mutated with like spider other parts. Like he has multiple arms.
Yeah, because there's so many different versions.
Yes. So that's like cool, you know, for a fan reading the comics. Is like, oh, well, I don't have to read this whole story. You can sell me an entirely different Spider-Man. Like that one I got right up there. Deadly neighborhood Spider-Man. Not friendly, deadly. Because he's a Spider-Man who kills.
Nice.
He's going crazy.
You ever seen the issues of the X-Men, the zombie X-Men?
Yeah, exactly. It's stuff like that.
Yeah.
The what ifs of the world. Well, the problem is that this guy who's creating this time loop, right? He's keeping us all in one universe. There's no options to split them up. At one point in his past, our future, he discovered multiverses. And just like him, he created a way to travel to these.
Yeah.
And the fun part is that there's a universe of him. There's him in a different universe somewhere else who's also discovering this at around the same time. So now he's able to like communicate, and there's harmony between him and his other alter egos.
Yeah.
But not all of them were okay with that, because what they found out was that having so many of these universes expanding like this, like some of them just thought of it ways to like conquer others. And then if you have too many, the multiverse breaks and it collapses
on itself.
Yes. And that's what we get: incursions, where literal universes will start flying towards each other
and then start merging
in a head-on car crash.
Yeah.
And they just blow up and everything in them dies instantaneously.
Yeah.
And so that's what they're leading up to, it sounds like, in this new Marvel. You know, our big guy was Thanos before, right?
Yeah.
Gonna snap away half of existence. We're dealing with multiple universes going to collide on each other.
Yeah.
And how are these superheroes gonna fight that shit?
Some of them are gonna die.
So I think that they are taking these serious issues that they're dealing with here, and easing it up with some comedy and some humor. But I think it's only because they're going to lead us to something super fucking dark. Here's the thing. Oh my God, this is so spoilers though. All right. Have you seen the Ant-Man movie? No.
No.
Fuck. I don't even know if I should say this, but I really want to.
Just you like to be the one to tell.
I'm just saying, like, you know, it's been a month. People watch a fucking movie already. But
that's a pretty relative new movie.
So this goes on the tales of Loki. Okay, Loki's villain in his TV show, which has been out for a couple years, so not too surprising, is a variant, not the exact same one, but a variant, like we said, like a different universe's person.
Yeah.
Ant-Man is fighting that same guy. And one of the interesting things that we got in this Ant-Man movie that we haven't seen in other Marvel movies, you know, we get the end credit scene, right? It's either comedic or serious or whatnot. And then sometimes at the end of it all, they will leave us with a few words. Okay. They will say like Thor will return in the Avengers or something like that.
Yeah.
They did that in this movie, but the part that freaked me out, like, I don't know if it was because I was high, but when they did it for the villain.
Okay.
That they just killed.
They said he'll be back.
Yes.
Okay, that's kind of a spoiler. I'm just kidding.
It's a very big spoiler, but also we kind of already know that he's going to be back because we know that there's multiple versions, right? We've talked about that. Loki showed us that.
Yeah.
Spoilers, but I mean, Loki's been out long enough so it's not that big of a deal. When Loki killed his villain, this guy, all it did was reset his timeline. So why isn't the world in a loop anymore? Why are there multiples of these guys? Well, because Loki had the choice. Him and the female version of him had a choice. And that was to kill the guy who has been looping time.
Excuse me.
And take over and continue looping time and continue sending these time agents out there to keep the flow of time in its perfect circle. Yeah. Don't let it branch out. Or you could just kill me, is what he told them. And another me is going to walk right through that door. Because now you have let all of them come. I'm not the one you should be angry at. I'm the one keeping us all together and safe.
Yeah.
Because I'm keeping us as one perfect universe.
Yeah.
Where I don't meet all my other people. Where I don't have multiple variations of me fighting a multiversal war. Yeah. Destroying the multiverse. Where I don't cause an incursion event to happen. And the female version of Loki decided she was going to kill him and let it all happen.
Huh.
And so Loki is now working to try to stop it in the background. Like crazy. But the point is, we already knew that there were multiple versions because at the end of Loki, we saw that. We saw him walk out into a room and see that everything changed around him and that there was a statue of that guy now and that there's someone else ruling this place.
Yeah, ruling that's weird.
This universe. And everything we know is different, but the same. And so
that's Back to the Future 2.
Yeah, pretty much. Exactly. It's a Back to the Future 2. So now we already knew that there was going to be multiple of these people. And so it wasn't a surprise because like they showed off the villain in the trailers and shit. So it wasn't like they were hiding who he was. They've mentioned him in the Loki already. We've got an introduction to his background, his story. They retold us all that too, which was fine. And then so all of that, now we're going to see, I believe, a lot more of this multiverse talk, a lot more of these
more multiverse talk,
these incredible beings that we can't destroy.
Yeah.
Like that are too strong to be destroyed. And we're going to start seeing some like holy fuck universe shattering events in these movies. And after they solve this, things might reset.
Again,
we might have a reset of the entire Marvel universe.
So they'll just
which makes sense because, like, you know, a lot of these actors are getting too old to be superheroes, and they're trying to get younger people involved. Like that's why we got Hawkeye's sidekick is taking over the Hawkeye mantle and stuff like that.
They're doing a reset so they can just refill the Captain America. Because they asked Chris Evans about doing another Captain America, and he was like, I don't know, it would have to be the right story because I really hold that character real close to my heart. And
I feel like they're trained to say that because they have to in this case. Like they needed to move on from these characters. He couldn't continue doing it forever like that. That's why, like, in the
not cost efficient. That's
they went and
sure.
did that Black Widow movie. Like, she might not come back as Black Widow again, but we have a replacement, her sister. And a younger version of her, pretty much, as far as characters concerned. And the same thing with, like, we're seeing a lot more, like in this Ant-Man movie, we introduce his daughter has an Ant-Man suit, and she goes and uses it. Like that was in trailers too, so not that big of a spoiler, but
to an extent, like that DC does do this with Batman. Like there's so many different versions of Batman.
Oh, of course. All comic books, like
I'm saying, like the
all
movies,
these stuff.
Yeah, I'm saying particularly the movies.
DC wanted to start their Flash,
and they're
movie.
bringing back what's his name?
Yes,
not Michael J. Fox, Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton.
Yeah,
they're bringing back Michael Keaton as Batman in the Flash movie, and that's because this Flash movie is going to be surrounded about time travel, and it's pretty much a Flashpoint paradox.
But they baked in the Batman switching into the character so much that everyone's goes along with. They don't even question anything. They're just like, oh yeah,
was supposed to come out sooner. Because like if we look at like Shazam, when they got like a lot of comments, it's like, why is Shazam's costume different? Well, it's because the Flash movie is supposed to reset the DC universe. That's what it was originally designed to do, and all of those fucking plans just kind of like went out the fucking water. Don't even get me started on Batgirl again.
And then you got Black Adam. Yeah, just out of nowhere.
Black Adam was fucking stupid. That's what happens when.
And then they said,
don't get me started on that one.
Yeah, they said The Rock really fought some of the things that they wanted to do.
Yes, they let him pretty much have complete control over the movie. He wasn't even supposed to. The only reason there's a Black Adam fucking movie is because The Rock liked the character and was like, I don't want to be just a cameo and a villain in someone else's movie. I want to have my own movie.
Yeah, he was supposed to.
Because he was supposed to be a cameo at the end of the first Shazam movie. Yeah. He was supposed to be like the next big villain in this Shazam movie. They had to come up with a different story because The Rock, who is a fucking Shazam villain, not an anti-hero, okay? He has never been a hero in my readings of the Shazam comics.
Yeah.
But The Rock wanted it. So they gave it to him because he fucking owns Hollywood by now.
Well, he's got his own office at the Warner Brothers. Right. They even pointed out, they're like, that's $7 Productions right there, where The Rock and everybody worked. Yeah, they pointed out. Which is
great and all, but like, it ruined. Like, what do you care more about? Marvel cares about the continuity of their movies and stuff. Like they care about the overall story, and if it doesn't work in the overall story, they're going to cut it. They're not going to allow you to do it.
They've been able to put together a series of movies better than anybody's done ever.
Yeah.
With
and if
different
Marvel
characters.
wants to play with characters, they won't let other people play with those characters.
Well, they brought new people in, so the old people, the people running before it, they all got replaced.
I've heard about, like, for
James
example,
Gunn is going to change a lot of that.
Yeah, his stuff has been pretty good.
So anything that he comes out with is going to be connected because he's building.
Because they've said this before, like that they were going to build a whole different thing.
They had the meeting with The Rock because remember they announced what's his name, Henry Cavill to be Superman. They came out and said, yeah, he's going to do it again. So everybody got hyped about that, but then. sure enough, like a week or two later, they were like, no, actually, we're canceling the movie. And they had a meeting with The Rock and what's his name? And Superman. And they're like, it was productive. We had a good talk with James Gunn, but it seems that they're going in a different direction. So he basically like gave them the plan, and they were like, nah, we're not down for that. Because I think he wants to do all that teasing. He wants to have this show up in this
it's just
movie.
The problem is that like DC has and Warner Brothers have they just keep changing the way that they promised us things. Like we had a whole entire Zack Snyder universe of DC shit that all fell through. Then we had the idea of like, okay, well, we're going to finish up the last bits we have with those guys. But what we're going to be doing now is we're going to reset our whole universe, and we're going to talk about multiverse things. And that's why we have a Robert Pattinson Batman, because we can have multiple different Batmans in multiple different movies at the same time because we have multiverses. And we're going to jump on that bandwagon. And then that whole fucking shit fell through.
They've done it.
Well, if they would have continued fucking doing it, I would have had a fucking
I don't know,
Batgirl movie.
Batman did.
There was some other cool shit. Like, did you know like J.J. Abrams was supposed to have a Superman movie where it did not feature a Clark Kent Superman? It was a different Superman. It was going to be a black Superman. It was going to be awesome with a different storyline for a whole different character that was not a baby landed on Earth. You know, like that would have been so cool.
I think The Rock talked about being Superman, so I wonder if he...
I don't want to see The Rock anywhere near...
No. I'm saying a long time ago, before he got Black Adam, because he was saying, this is my Superman. He kept saying Black Adam was his Superman. So, because I think he at some point wanted that role.
He just wanted a fucking hero role, and I get it, like, but Black Adam is not...
They kept bringing him up and as Marvel characters, like, oh, he could do this. I remember all the talks about The Rock. It's got to be in a superhero movie. We got all these movies, you know, and I think he was really being picky about what role he was selecting, because I'm sure he got offers to do different characters, and he was like, no, I want a franchise, you know. I don't want to just be a character, you know, or a part of another story. I want my own movie. I want my own franchise.
Then he shouldn't have like gotten so obsessed with this character. There could have been other ones for it. Because
he was supposed to be in Shazam too, right?
Yeah, that's the thing, and it upsets me that like because I love DC stuff too. Like I read a lot of DC comics. I read more DC comics than I have Marvel comics, but they fail me when they create their live action stuff that's on the big screen, and I want to see those characters. What? That's why I mean, I don't know if it was last time or the time before. Joker was good, yes,
and they got a second one coming.
Joker was good in certain ways. Like it was a cool movie. I don't know if I really loved that story of the Joker in the way I see Joker.
It's not a lovable character. Yeah.
And the way that they like made him, like I always like the idea of the way that they did the Joker in The Dark Knight, because that was a very ambiguous Joker. We don't have a origin for the Joker, and some of my favorite iterations of the Joker does not have an origin.
The comic, or the not comic book, but the cartoon versions of Joker a lot of times have been heavy makeup versions too, and he has a real like, you know, squirrely voice most of the time
because it's mostly Mark Hamill.
but yeah, I mean, there's also that version, you know, like there's these other versions.
No, agreed. Yeah, there's some Joker version, like there's a lot of great versions out there, and it did well inside, but it's not something like I was overly like. I loved the movie. It was a fucking 10 out of 10 for me.
But you still like...
I watch it again.
You still like Heath as your number one Joker.
But it's not the type of DC movie I want to see. Like, I want to see action of it and stuff.
Oh, yeah. This is not...
Like, this things that Sony comes out with have been bugging me too. Like Morbius and Venom.
Oh, like, dude, don't get me started on Venom,
they're just making
That's
those... You can tell when they're making it for the money and when they're making it for passion.
Venom pissed me off so much. We talked about Venom on here already, but yeah, dude, you have this crazy character that bites people's heads off, and you don't get to see it. They always cut away. They do the cutaway.
Because they're still branded under a superhero movie, and they're like, well, we got to fucking sell this shit to kids.
Yeah, and it was so
Stop
much
selling it to kids.
dialogue with him and fighting with himself and making a whole meal.
You can make just as much movie money without selling to fucking kids. I guess the toys. There's a lot
big
of money
toys,
in toys.
Big market.
Yeah.
So,
but fuck, I don't know. I mean,
they didn't want to go the Deadpool way.
you've got tons of other fucking movies that sell less amount in the box office, and they don't have fucking toys. You don't see a fucking toy for Paul Blart. Except that guy made fucking money.
Dude,
What the fuck?
I was talking, actually, and that's funny you bring that up. I was talking to the security guard at our campus, and he, I don't know how we started talking about it, but he's like, you ever seen Paul Blart? And I was like, yeah. He's like, that's a good movie right there. And it's like, he liked it. And he's a security guard. Oh, you know what? You know why you brought it up? Because I was talking about Segways. I was like, dude, I thought I saw you guys with Segways before, like just zooming around here. And it was before his time, so he doesn't know about it. But he's like, oh, okay. And he's like, you ever seen Paul Blart? And I was like, yeah, the mall cop. He's like, yeah, that movie's funny. I like that. And he's like, he must have really connected with that character.
That's like the only time I've seen fucking security guards on
Oh,
Segways.
and then I was like, yeah. And I was like, and the second one too, man. And he's like, there's a second one? He's like,
oh my god.
He was like, I gotta watch that. He was all, I gave him something to watch, dude.
You sure did.
That was funny, man. But yeah, dude, I don't know. Movies will always be like that time that you get to spend, with, whoever you're with, or because it's so awesome. Do you remember going to the movies with your friends? Like you guys all went to the same movie and then you're cracking up laughing.
Dude, I was one of those kids that like we would go to when it was big movies like that. We go to midnight fucking premieres. Like
that too, yeah.
Like
drive-ins.
real fucking midnight premieres. Not this ones. Bullshit like, oh well, you can watch the movie at 8 p.m. on a Thursday. It's like, no, we had to watch it. The showtime sold for $12.01 because it could have been 12. Had to be like for sure we're on Friday.
They were hardcore about that.
And you would line up at fucking 5 p.m., 6 p.m. to watch this goddamn movie.
Yeah, we did that for the last Batman. Me and Zerks went to the so what they did was they showed all three movies. So you got there, you watched Batman Begins, and then you watch Dark Knight, and then at midnight you watched the newest one. So we stayed there. We had intermissions in between movies. They gave us like 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah,
intermission. And between the first, this theater was right next to the mall, or a part of the mall, where you can kind of still walk to the food court. So we walked. We were like just walking around. I was like, dude, let's get some food, man. And then so we went, we got some food, and we walked back into the theater because it never said you could have snacks or whatever. They were pretty cool about it, but so we walked back in, and dude, sure enough, the movie's starting, and then dude, we opened up these freaking big ass burritos, dude.
Oh shit! And, you can bring them in or what?
Yeah, they let us bring in food just for that. Like,
when are they doing another thing? Like, I would love to do that. When I lived in San Francisco, go ahead.
And then the guys next to us were like, "That's a good idea." They were like, they were so jealous, dude, because they saw us just chowing down, dude. We were like, "Yeah, man." So the whole second movie, dude, because we already know, everybody knows what's gonna happen. So
it's not like you haven't seen the movie already.
Yeah,
unless you're like that one person that was like, "I want to know what the fuck all this Batman shit is, and I can just buy this one ticket and figure it out. Tomorrow I'll be a Batman expert."
I'll say it was fun.
This motherfucker ruined it because he was eating a fucking delicious burrito next to me.
Yeah, and it's fun watching that movie again in the theater because you've seen it so many times at home because at that point it already had been out for a while, and so to go back to the theater and watch it again with the first one to see how they mesh together and everything, and it was a cool. Like those experiences are fun. You're with a crowd. You guys are all experiencing this funny moment together.
Oh my God, yes.
At the same time, you know. So it's like there's nothing like being in a theater and watching a movie, you know. You can say people create their home theaters and stuff, but it's not the same. It's not going to be the same as going with, you know, people, a big group, big hall, big room, you know, with a big screen. You got the speakers. And they got some of those 4D theaters too, where it's like...
And I think it's better when it's stuff like that, because then you're not going to get just a normal person or somebody off the street just like, let's go fucking see the next movie. And then they're disruptive, or they got their, you know, disruptive kids or some shit. When you go to like movies in such a way that you experienced it, you're there with other people with the same fucking goal in mind, which is, I want to watch all 4 of these films consecutively, and I'm gonna mark out my entire fucking day for this shit.
Yeah, I went
and I'm a fanboy of it, and that's why. Like, badass, man.
There's no experience like it. Like, we went and saw the Grindhouse, the 2 Quentin Tarantino movies. Do you remember that? There was Planet Terror and Death Proof, and dude, those 2 movies, they were shorter movies, like an hour and a half, like around there. Like, not, you know, like a decent amount of time, but they were shorter. And dude, the like little like in between session, in between movies, like he had a whole intermission built into the middle of the movie. So you watched the first movie, and then it went dun 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 dun, and it looked like the 70s or something. And there was like a popcorn guy and a drink, you know, and they were talking, and like he did a whole thing like that. And then he made up a bunch of trailers for the intermission that were,
dude, that's cool.
They weren't even movies. Like, one of them was called Thanksgiving. And then this dude came out and he just started killing people on Thanksgiving. And there's like a Thanksgiving parade in this small town or stuff. And people are like, oh, and then like blood's flying. And dude, this guy's just killing people on Thanksgiving. And it was just like, it was trailers for movies that never existed or never were going to exist. And like, one was called Don't. And then it would like zoom in on somebody. It would be like, don't open that door. And then of course they open the door, you know, like it kept telling them not to do something, and it was called Don't. And it just kept doing that with different scenarios in like a horror movie. And then at the end it was like, don't watch this movie. And then it just ended. And one of the trailers that was fake was a movie Machete. Or Machete, whatever people call it.
And they ended up making it a movie.
Yeah, they made a movie just because people saw that trailer and they wanted to see the movie. They were like, that is good. They liked Danny Trejo. They were like, this dude's badass. He was killing people in the trailer. Like, he was a full-on, like...
Danny Trejo's great.
Yeah, it was so good that they actually had to make it a movie just because it did so well in the Grindhouse when they previewed it to everybody. So... That was like he was taking you back to an old school double feature, like back in the days, like when he went to the theaters that they used to do. So like, dude, Quentin's just like he's just a movie mind. He loves theater. That's his thing. That's his sport.
Dude, I heard he's got the fucking sickest like home theater.
Yeah, he takes people to his home theater and they watch movies, dude, together. Mm-hmm. That'd be awesome. Like, people have said they went to his house and watched a movie.
He has screenings. Like, he's very famous for his screenings and shit.
Yeah, he took people back to see Once Upon a Time.
I would love to go to one of his screenings.
Dude, that would be the best.
That would be amazing.
And he has so many tapes. Like, I forgot who was talking about it, but they were at his house and he was pulling tapes out.
Because he likes fucking hard media and shit.
Yeah, from his old childhood. Mm-hmm. Like, of him recording. He used to pop a tape in and record, like, made for TV movies, and he would just record them. He had spliced recordings of just certain actors that he liked, and he would put all their scenes together. Like,
yeah, he's fucking wild.
Yeah, and he was doing this as a kid, you know. So it's like, yeah, he's always been that much into movies, you know. So he was giving himself like his own education in film, you know, his whole life, because he just loved it so much. But it just shows, you know, when you're obsessed with something, you think about something so much that you just become that much more better at it, you know. Those
For
obsessive,
sure.
those obsessive people. That's the only way you get good is you know, continue to keep practicing and doing it over and over and over again. So he was just making movies in his head since he was a kid, you know, the way that, you know, a lot of people daydream and stuff like that. He was actually practicing and doing and filming stuff. I think when they talk to a lot of filmmakers, they're like, just make anything, just film something, film it with your friends, make a short, you know, those are all practice hours, you know, you just get better at making stories and doing things, you know, and it's fun. I think that's what George Lucas said he's still doing, because he's not making any mainstream movies, but he said, I'm still making movies and I show them to my friends and family.
Yeah, I think you've told me this. Is like,
Yeah.
and then like someone asked, like, well, when do we get to see these movies? Like, you don't.
He's like, I'm never going to show them to the public, but
They're just my movies. I wanted to make them.
He's like, I like making them for my friends.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? He has all these movies that
He
he's
has
made
movies.
with actors too. He doesn't.
Yeah. He just has like, and I heard too that they're like filmed in like such like oh, what's the word? Like exploratory ways. Like,
He's trying different things,
new techniques, new technology, different ways of doing this or filming that. Like, fucking crazy.
He's always thinking
which is
ahead.
so weird because like this man is a man who can financially do this, make these movies as a hobby,
Yeah.
and still like be nothing to his fucking coin purse.
Because he made so many.
He gets so
Millions
much
of
fucking
dollars.
billions.
Yeah.
Billions.
At this point, yeah.
Of dollars.
Off of the toys.
Oh
dude.
my god, the toys.
Oh man, they have
The Disney deal.
what's the do you know the show? What is it on Netflix?
Which one?
About toys? They just talk about
Oh, the toys that made us?
yeah.
Oh, fucking love that show, bro.
Yeah, and they have
my
the
God.
episode with George Lucas.
Yes, with George Lucas and the Star Wars toys and
If
everything.
anybody wants to watch a good story, watch that one. It's just
There's so many good ones. The movies that made us, those are great too. The shows that made us.
but the toy episode where they just talk about Star Wars and the toys, that was such a good episode, dude. You got to see George Lucas' thinking process. You got to see the behind the scenes, his genius, the things that he would think of to change. He would say, no, you got to do this. I want the toy to look like this. Like
they did an episode too about like Star Trek and why those like toys were not successful because of the way that they were marketed out and all that bullshit.
Sometimes that's it. And like George had the vision of putting Star Wars on everything. He wanted it on lunchboxes. He wanted it on everything. And it just blew up. It was the biggest thing. There's collectors that have shelves and shelves of just toys from Star Wars.
Oh, and what was it too? It was like some toy company bought the fucking rights to the manufacturing of the toys from a smaller company or something. Like they bought them out for it.
Oh man, it's been so long since I saw the episode.
It was wild because this toy company, I think it was like Hasbro or something, and they had like the rights to these toys. And if they would have made the toys, all they had to do was make a. They didn't have to make a new toy.
They
They just had to
failed, huh?
sell the fucking toy, manufacture it, but they didn't within like a year or something, and they lost like a fucking decent chunk because the contract was so old. Like it was written before these toys were even a thought to make money.
Yeah.
And they were making so much money off of it. And this company, all they had to do was make a fucking thing, and they didn't. And so they lost so much potential money and rights to all this fucking toy deal just because they couldn't get their shit together and make a fucking toy within a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
They had a year to just produce something.
It's really interesting when you go down the rabbit hole of
Right.
toys, just toys, like growing up toys and stuff. You know, toys are they're even more popular now.
When you can create an IP like that too, that just like, it's crazy.
The toy
It's
market
crazy.
is even bigger than it was when we were kids because there's a bigger market of adults buying toys, collectibles, you know, with all the comic book movies and all of that going on. There's such a
always
huge market.
been like too these high end
and the anime,
collectible makers and
the
stuff.
anime toys. There's some crazy anime toys out there. And like
nostalgia always sells too.
Yeah, but
as long as there's still people out there to like
some of them
care about these things, they will continue to make them.
Some of them are limited sets too, where they're only going to make so many and then they stop.
Yeah, and it's on purpose.
Because I have the pop art or the pop company, right, that makes like the bobbleheads.
Mm-hmm.
They made a whole
vinyl pops.
Yeah, they made a whole series of Venom toys. Like it's like Spider-Man Venomized, Mr. Fantastic Venomized. Doctor Doom Venomized. Mm-hmm. So I have the whole set of all the Venomized, and they're pretty cool. It has all kinds of
no, for sure. I've seen them.
Yeah. So
and you know what's crazy too is like that entire company, people laughed at them.
The pop when
they were like
just the bobbleheads.
They don't even fucking move.
Not anymore. Yeah, they used to bobble. Remember that was the thing. They were started as just bobbleheads.
But they were just these vinyl things. No, I don't even think the original ones bobbled. No? I think the bobble was like a secondary like way that they tried because people kept saying, well, their heads are so big, they're like bobbleheads. And so they tried to like make a bobblehead market.
And it was like pop art, like kind of like
they did it like a limited thing or something. But like they were totally like, I want to say like laughed at for the idea thinking you're gonna make a toy. What is this? What is this? This is just a doll that doesn't move. It's hard. It's what? It's not even an action figure. Like they didn't have stuff like that before.
Yeah,
or it was just, and it doesn't even look like the thing.
Yeah,
it's its own thing.
It was it was just like a little niche,
and then fucking blew up
as the market expanded.
Everybody got pops.
Well, they had that mix.
I got a couple somewhere. I don't know if I have. There's a Deadpool one wearing he's a bobblehead one. These are pretty cool.
Oh, I have a couple I'm going to bring over. You have a chicken head Deadpool.
Yeah, I got it's a
chicken suit.
It's a chicken suit Deadpool, and he's eating a bucket of fried chicken.
And has chicken feet.
And then I have a punk rock Deadpool. And he's just fucking punk rocking it. And he's got his little Deadpool logo on the back too.
And a mohawk.
Yeah, he's got a mohawk. Why does he have a mohawk? And his eye is pierced. He's got a fucking piercing on his eye. It goes through his mask. What the fuck is wrong with Deadpool? So fucking weird. Yeah. But
you remember the McFarlane store, right?
Oh yeah, McFarlane's a big name.
And that he was into the realistic like sports figures too. Remember, like you can get like a Brett Favre like throwing a football pass, and it looked really cool when it was on the stand and everything. It was almost like just a piece of art, you know, like they weren't meant to be played with. They're just meant to be sitting in a case. So he had a lot of those, and then he was the one that made Spawn, right? He was a creator of Spawn.
Yes, I think he did have some Spawn. I feel like I want to say that they were doing a Spawn.
Another one? You're gonna reboot it?
A movie? Yeah, they're gonna do a Spawn movie.
It's been a long time.
Or a TV show or something. Oh, that's some other pop culture news. I feel like we should talk about that. Did you hear what they're going to be doing with Harry Potter? Maybe this wasn't confirmed. Maybe I'm getting my shit wrong. But did you hear about?
I have not heard Harry Potter news. Lay it on me.
So they had wanted Daniel Radcliffe and Emma Watson to sign on for a 9th Harry Potter movie because there's a 9th Harry Potter book in that chronological series.
You know, somebody told me that the other day. They're like, they never made another movie.
The book's there, and they are going to make the movie.
Yeah.
The problem is that J.K. Rowling still owns producing rights to these movies. Like, she's got a fucking deal that's stuck for a very long time. Yeah. They don't fucking make anymore because of this. She makes a lot of money off these movies. And
they don't like that.
Well, because of her recent stance.
The thing, comments and stuff that she's been
on trans. Rights and stuff. She's like against it all, and it's not even just like, well, I'm against it, but is like actively abusively against it.
Yeah, I don't know.
which we don't have to get into. But the point is, Daniel Radcliffe and Emma Watson refused to work and come to an agreement to be on this 9th movie because of that. If she's going to be a part of it.
Oh, they didn't want
They don't want to work with her. They don't mind doing the movie again or being those characters, but they don't want to work with her. And so Warner Brothers was like, well, we could buy you out. But she wanted so much money. So that Warner Brothers is now like, well, we can't get these two people to be in the movie. We're not going to pay her astronomical, like ridiculous number to get the rights out. So we're not going to make this movie. So instead, Warner Brothers is rebooting the Harry Potter franchise.
All together.
But they're not going to make movies. They're going to make it into a TV show.
Okay.
Where every book is its own season. Now, I want you to think about this. The first movie was an entire book, right?
Yeah.
The Sorcerer's Stone, I think was the first one.
Yeah.
So...
Well, I had 2 different names, didn't it?
Because in the UK is the Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah.
But that didn't play well with Americans, so they changed it to the Sorcerer's Stone.
Yeah.
So now it's widely known as the Sorcerer's Stone, but originally it was the Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah. But regardless... what they're going to do is they're going to take every book and it's going to be its own season. So the Sorcerer's Stone movie is going to fall through an entire season on HBO Max, which if it goes the way all these other shows are going, we're looking at about anywhere from possibly 6 to 10 episodes roughly. Like I know it's a big number difference of content for one book. So let's take a 2.5 hour movie, maybe 2 hours for that first one. And I want you to take that movie and expand it to 6 to 10 hours. That's the kind of content we're going to get from these movies. Because there was a lot of stuff that they had to skim over or fast forward through to get through because they need to make it in time constraint of a movie. Yeah. So every single book is going to be its own season. So if they do this, they're committing to do like fucking 9 seasons pretty much.
That's a big swing for Warner Brothers.
Which
or for Discovery,
could
whatever.
Potentially end up being like the next fucking Game of Thrones thing.
It will be. Yeah, it will. It just will be.
If they do it right, if they get the magical fucking actors like they did the first time.
I think they will.
And they think about the passion of it instead of the money. Because they're going to fucking make money. It's a given. You're going to print fucking money as you shit. It's going to come out. Right? With this franchise. But please keep the passion and going for it. Stick to the books. Don't fucking go all creative and bullshit like they did in those last couple seasons of Game of Thrones.
What if it's a James Gunn version, dude?
Holy shit, man. You just made my nipples hard thinking about that shit. What the fuck?
That would be crazy, dude.
That would be insane. I would see that.
Oh, dude.
I'd be so invested in that.
There's going to be some dark characters.
I would pay people to see that.
Then there's going to be some killing. Yeah, students are going to die.
Oh, shit. I've always said, okay, I grew up knowing that these movies are a thing. I grew up when the books were fucking crazy.
That would make it edgy, though. If a kid dies.
I never seen all these movies until the last year. Me and Crystal, she sat me down. She's like, you're going to watch these movies. And I'm like, I'm not against it, but I just never thought I would. And so I'm sitting there and I'm watching the movies in order. All of these Harry Potter movies, like back to back. We had a fucking weekend marathon where we just watched nothing but Harry Potter movies. And the main takeaway I have from Harry Potter, has it changed my view of Harry Potter? No. Am I a bigger fan of Harry Potter now? No. Do I know a little bit more? A little bit. What is the one thing I has been changed about me with these movies is that Hogwarts is a fucking terrible school. Do not send your kids to Hogwarts. The mortality rate of Hogwarts is worse than any other school.
There's been a lot of bad things.
Any other school on paper. That place needs to be shut down. It needs government involvement. It needs to be shut down.
They got to build what you do, though, to...
Is there a waiver when you go to this school is like death? You can't sue us for fucking death. Like, I feel like they need to sign that 5 times.
Well, what they need to do is create a scenario where it's a society where they view that school as important.
Which they did, because it's apparently important. Like, everybody is expected to go there if you live in fucking England.
That's what I'm saying. As long as they do that, then it creates a scenario where, okay, it can be believable. But yeah, in this current state that we live in, where everyone sues everybody for any kind of, stubbing of a toe or something like that, then yeah, it's not going to work in our society.
Well, we're not talking stubbing of toes, bro. We're talking about like people just being mutilated by creatures on the lot, by amount of vicious like homicidal attacks.
That's what I'm saying.
Are being done on the school by dark magic. Like, holy fucking shit.
That's what I'm saying. That would never fly because like you stub a toe and someone's getting a lawsuit.
Even before that, we can go back like 10 years and this school still would have been shut down. 20 years, the school would have been shut down. 30 years ago, this school would have still been on the list to be like, you've got a problem, we need to shut you down.
No, in the 90s, it would have been all right.
No, it would not have been all right. Fucking kind of shit that was happening there, I doubt that was going to be okay in the 90s.
The 90s were crazy, man.
Are you kidding me, bro? Look at the fucking craziness that's happening in this school. It's ridiculous.
There was a lot of shootings, man. I remember growing up, man.
I'm talking about fucking dragons eating your kid, drowning in the water. It's like nah, man.
Yeah, no, there was just a lot of violence.
When your school is like so bad that you need the world's most high secure prison guards to guard the fucking school.
It was pretty violent, man.
Holy shit. Is there another Hogwarts for like...
Just check out the movies that were made. Is there a
charter-based Hogwarts, like a charter school equivalent that I need to send my kids to?
Dude.
I'm sorry, kids. You're going to be homeschooled.
Do you remember the movie Boys in the Hood? The dude gets killed. He gets shot in the back with a shotgun.
Yeah, but it was a problem.
I didn't say it was good. I said that was the world we lived in.
Yeah, but that was like, at least you have choices.
No, you get shot in the fucking back.
You got to get out of there. But they paint that as like being the hood. This is a place where all classes of students go. From the wealthiest of people to the noblest of people to like fucking princes and royalty will go to this school.
Yeah, this is the royal hood.
There's only fucking one. And they're mingled together. So it's not like the excuses is because it's a bad area, man.
Iron sharpens iron,
it's
man.
because the school fucking don't care.
You got to have friction.
The fucking dean is sitting there like, the head of the fucking headmaster of the school is like, well, there's like some secret caves in here with some scary fucking chess pieces that will be murdering you and 3-headed dogs. And I'm not saying go down there, but if you don't, you're probably going to fail.
The only way you can make a great sorcerer is to be around all this dangerous shit, dude. I mean, if it's a school about sorcery, you got to encounter crazy shit. When Harry Potter
first went to this goddamn school, like every fucking damn movie, something happens to him. He's like, oh my God, I broke my arm. And they're like, don't worry, we'll turn it to jelly.
Yeah.
What? And he's always surprised. Nobody's teaching this kid shit. If he was learning shit, he would have been aware how they heal fucking bones in year 1.
Well, dude, okay. School inherently teaches you things you don't know.
But like I feel like you should be knowing more than you'd be knowing. Like, you don't come
out of the box a sorcerer. You got to learn that shit, man.
I get that, but like,
he always was behind though. Like they always had to be showing him shit that he should have known.
That's what I'm saying. Is that he has a learning disorder, and it's not his fault.
He also didn't have the support of his family. He grew up with all these crazy people around him.
That's true. So I'm not really dissing Harry Potter as a person, but I'm dissing the way that the school is managing his education.
I like this modern take on the Harry Potter movies. This is like the popular thing. People are like, man, I've never sent my kid to that school.
I wouldn't, man. It's dangerous.
Yeah, well, if you don't send your kid there, he don't get to be a sorcerer. So
well, fuck. Maybe he doesn't need to be. Okay, yeah. I've seen the shit. You go to a sorcerer concert and festival, and then all of a sudden, like dementors or fucking demon witches start killing you.
Dude, we can't
with forbidden magic.
We can't have everybody get soft. They're trying to do this already. I heard that they're trying to ease some of the standards for the Navy SEALs. To try to, curb, it's hard, dude. Like I can't hold the boat, man. It's really heavy. we get like a break or something, you know, like, no, dude, the only people that get to make it through the program are the hardest people. The program is literally meant to break you. We can't have everything be easy. There's got to be some things that are hard. Or we're just going to, we're going to be
that
surrounded.
Makes sense. Okay, I get that. But like, not every fucking student going to Hogwarts is going to become the next Harry Potter. They're just wanting to live lives.
No, they want to be sorcerers. This is a crazy life.
They just want to learn to use the magic. They don't need to fucking like
this magic is
almost
dangerous.
Die every single time.
Hey man.
Then they need to go to like some of these kids don't belong there. They're like, yo, I just want to know how to levitate a little bit. I just want to know
this
how
school's not for you. Then get the hell out of here.
Where is my school? This is the only option I had in this region.
Yeah, you only get to be. Oh, so you want a multiverse of different schools?
I'm not saying there's a multiverse, but let's say that there's like a different. You know, Hogwarts is for when you're trying to be like a badass fucking wizard.
That wouldn't be a bad idea, right?
Send them to Hogwarts. But what if you just want to be a wizard that, like, you know, makes fucking wizard art with the magic, and that's all you want to do. Send you to fucking art school, you know.
So
Artworks
within Hogwarts, there's different factions, right? And
there's different houses. Yes.
So that would be an interesting concept because Hogwarts is an institution. There has to be other institutions, right, in this universe if you really expand it, right? So there's got to be other sorcery houses, and that would be interesting to build another sorcery house.
There are different schools in the Hogwarts universe. Like there's a school in America.
Compete, right? They compete against.
Yes, but they're in different lands. Like it's,
yes, that's
if
right.
If you're born in the UK,
right.
you're going here. If you're born in America, there's an American version of Hogwarts with its own.
So the story of another school.
I would love to see that.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I've told Crystal, like, I like the Fantastic Beasts movies because it shows me magic being governed by people who've already gone through that bullshit schooling. Like, I don't need any more of this.
Fast forward that. Yeah.
It's like, well, these are adults dealing with magic in the magical world and the political system and how it's affected and they are in fucking America.
What'd you think about the Fantastic Beasts then? I don't remember them. I don't remember the first one. I watched it, but I don't remember it.
They're good.
Yeah. Isn't that supposed to be older sorcerers, right?
It is in a time before Harry Potter, yes. And they're dealing with, like, they're not in school, so they're dealing with more like actual world events and stuff.
Yeah, because I heard good things about it,
which I think is way better than
That's what you seem to like. You seem to like.
I like that kind of diversion of it. I don't need to see like the chosen child and going through the school and stuff. Like, that's fun and all, but like I don't need that anymore.
So can you sit through another whole, like, seasons of that story again? The chosen one?
I'm not saying I'm not going to. I think I said that at the beginning. Like, it hasn't changed my decision. The only thing I've learned is, like, the Hogwarts is a terrible education system.
And we need a James Gunn version.
Yeah, that James fucking Gunn version, please.
Yeah.
God damn,
where
please.
Peacemaker busts down the door.
Oh, gobble that shit up. Gobble that shit up.
What time are we at?
We're at 1:17.
All right, yeah. This is good. We're ending a good note about you gobbling.
All right. Okay, well, this has been another weekly exciting episode of Digital Cortex. My name is Steven. That's Random Styles. And we'll hope you have a good evening.
Later.